having me.
Of course. So to get right into it, when you were like young, what were some of the things that you wanted to be when you grew up?
5-year-old Tin wanted to be a garbage man. Like real bad. Basically, yeah, I wanted to be a garbage man, but I think it was age 4 I gave myself my first asymmetrical haircut. We weren't allowed to cut our hair, so I remember the beating I got for that one. And then I would be cutting all my Barbie's hair, my sister's Barbie's hair, messing around with hair all the time. I didn't know at the time that was my passion. I just like playing with hair and like playing with dolls.
That's amazing.
So I feel like aside from being a garbage man, I really wanted to play with hair.
So when you said you would get beat if you cut your own hair, was it strict for you growing up? What kind of influences did you have?
Oh yeah, we had a really strict household. Like we grew up Sikh, which is if you are baptized Sikh and practicing Sikh, you basically you leave your body unchanged. You don't cut your hair, you don't eat meat, no alcohol, like nothing. My dad was practicing Sikh, but like we grew up, like as I grew up, I learned when you take that vow, it's a very personal thing and it should never be thrust upon anybody. So being in a house where it was thrust upon us, we didn't really know why we weren't allowed to do all the things. And me being the third or fourth child, I really wanted to rebel, and I did, because I was like, you're not telling me why I can't do any of these things. All of that, it's religion, and that's it, and I had no choice in the matter. Little did my parents know they were raising a hairdresser. But yeah, it was just like, I don't know, I feel like when you're raising children, just tell them the why. They'll be fine. Maybe they'll listen.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, it was a strict household for sure. But within the strictness of like my dad and stuff, being real super religious, we also had a lot of fun.
Did you? Okay, so were your parents some of your big like influences? Did you have any other kind of mentors or people that really influenced your life, do you feel?
Growing up, yeah, I have 3 siblings. So my 2 older sisters, who I thought were just like the coolest people ever. Like my dad would be like, go in your room and pray. This was a regular occurrence. So like, okay, so I go to my sister's room. And we just be around and look at magazines, Christian Slater, but lip gloss on, and just stay there for enough time.
Your family was like so influential, like you guys were a tight family.
Oh yeah, and like we grew up like 10 houses down from my grandma and all my cousins. So for a long time, we didn't really need friends. We had 8 cousins, and we were enough people to make any kind of team.
Wow.
For a long time.
So how do you feel like that shaped you? Do you feel like having so much family and so much support and people that you could go to if you needed something, do you feel like that really influenced you?
Yeah, going into business, I felt like I always had a safety net. Like leaving the salon, it was scary because I didn't really have a safety net, but I knew if anything went awry, I always had my family to lean on. And I know a lot of people don't have that, and it's even more scarier than just to like rely on yourself. But yeah, I feel like it's like a double-edged sword. Like I feel because I have such strong ties to my family, I find it really hard to like let go. And I'm very rooted in Edmonton, but I want to get out of here, but I can't, right? Like such deep roots. They're really hard to cut sometimes.
Yeah. So how has that affected you? Like feeling like, did you feel pressure from your family? Did you feel like they wanted you to be a certain thing? Or did you always feel like they were, go for it, do what you want to do?
I think, so my mom, it was more like she supports me in anything I do. And she supported my hair career, everything. My dad, no, it was like, do something respectable. So I went to business school, did that, got my finance diploma, did that. And then the day I left the bank was when I got told I laughed too loud.
You were like, okay, I don't fit here, and someone's trying to make me be something that I'm not. So what did you do from there?
Yeah, so I was at the bank, and I just, exactly. When you're trying to fit in, you don't fit in. And you really start to see how much you're different than everybody. We even did a Myers-Briggs personality test at that bank. Everyone's like in a box here with each other. I'm like way over there, like by myself. I was like, well, this is very clear to me. So I just took a leap, man. I was like researching at work, obviously on work hours. What else can I do? And it was always hair. I loved hair. And I was like, okay, I'll just check out like the schools and see what's up. And then it was just really, I was pulled towards it really strong. It was like really undeniable. And then I went home, told my mom, I want to do this. I have no money because my car payment is the same as my insurance payment and I'm broke. So can you pay for my hair schooling?
That's amazing. And that's amazing you had that kind of support. Like you said, not everyone has that, and that's huge. So you went to hair school, and then from there, what did that look like for you?
So I went to Estelle, and being in hair school, I guess I was like one of the older people, which was weird because I was only like 22. And like everyone was like 17, 18. I was like, I feel old, and I've never felt old. I was like, this is weird. But I remember, I don't know, so many things that happen in hair school now. I'm just like, no, they should not be saying any of this.
Beep.
They're like, okay, maybe the 80-20 rule. Yeah, 80% of people are probably going to drop out, which was fair because we started off with 13 people in our class. I graduated with 4. Yeah, like flies, people were dropping. And they were just like, all about the client. No one
beep
about you.
Beep.
Rolls downhill, take it. And that's what the industry is. The one good thing they did tell us is that when you're fresh out of school, you're probably not going to be making a lot of money. And that kind of reality check, I think everyone needs to know. I think now in this era of like social media, people are going to school thinking they're going to come out influencers and make it a buttload of money. And maybe you will if you like hustle like a drug dealer in school. But like reality for a lot of people is that's not what's going to happen. So when I was almost done school, I started working for Peter Wolf, who only took one, like as an assistant, I guess. I applied the colors, he did the cuts. He took one person from like the most senior class of that season. And then whatever, you just worked for him 3 days a week. It was awesome. Got my color time really quick. He was a weird guy, but like I learned a lot from him. And just like his clientele, he had a very high-end clientele. And I was like, okay, I see.
Would you say he influenced you? Like, were you then wanting to have a higher end clientele? Did you feel like you fit in there? How did that go for you?
Yeah, he was super welcoming. And so he was this like old German guy. Let me just describe what his salon looked like. It was super cute. It was like on Calgary Trail. It's like upstairs in this like little, I don't know, maybe it's 1,000 square feet or something. There's only 2 chairs. I did the colors, he did the cuts, one sink, that's it. And he had box wine. And I didn't really know anything about wine at the time, but I was like, ooh, box wine? How fancy. So then I naturally started drinking box wine. Anyways, there's a lot of nudity in artwork around. And yeah, he was so funny. He was like 75 at the time, 75. And he just taught me that he was being himself completely when he was doing their hair, and they loved him. And then I was allowed to be myself there, and they loved me, and it was awesome. And I learned I give really good scalp massages there, stronger than most men. So I was a nice
I love that. And I love how you felt like you could be yourself, and you had been in a place where you were like, I'm not myself and I'm getting in trouble for being myself. So then to go to a place where, okay, I'm myself now. From there, what did you do? Did you stay there, or were you wanting to spread?
No. So when you work for Peter, you're not allowed to stay there after you graduate. But either way, I ended up was like totally coincidence. So I wanted to apply at Mousy Brown, but because I'm so directionally challenged, I don't know how to get around. So I like ended up in the area, but then I couldn't find it. So I went to another salon. There was a bunch of salons in a row there. I applied there instead. And then on my walk back to my car, I was like, oh, it's right there. So I went in. I was like, thank God, I like found it. Anyways, applied there, and yeah, that's where I spent the next couple of years, it was good there for a while, just because they were newer. There was not a huge like staff, and they were really like education focused, which I liked. But of course, it's a salon, there's drama, right? So that started to come to the forefront, and I was like, move on, I'm out of here.
So then where did you go?
I went home and I opened my home salon. Well, okay, so downtown, the salon was downtown. I'm from like south of Millwoods. I'm very south. I'm almost in Calgary. Right. And so for me to go from there downtown every day, it was like, I'm a bad driver. So I got tickets all the time, dinged up all the time. I was paying to go to work. It was not a good time. And then, yeah, I don't know if you wanted me to go into the day actually. They said, you get to clean the grout of tile on the floor with bleach on your hands and knees. That's your task today. I'm like, me, a college educated child, I'm cleaning grout in my pink corduroy pants on the floor for you? Oh, okay. I was like, my pants were ruined, BT dubs. I never said anything because like I didn't have the balls to say anything back then. But then I was like, this is bullshit. Every other salon I know of has a cleaning team. That's their job, and they get paid good money to do it. I got paid nothing to clean your grout. And I was like, no, that's it. There was a lot of other shit that was leading up to it, but that was like the straw that broke the camel's back for sure.
And you're just
So then I went home, told my mom obviously everything that happened, crying. And she's like, "What did they give you? A sink, a mirror, and a chair?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I can give you that." So my mom fronted me at home my equipment, and then within 2 months I paid her back for everything. And then I built my house on my own, no money from nobody.
wow, that's amazing. So you built your house.
Mm-hmm. Ground up.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So what were some of the things for you? What were some of the fears that you had to face and some of the things that you had to overcome in order to get to that place?
So this was before like social media was anything. I didn't want to be known as the auntie down the street that cut hair in the basement. So all I had for advertising was like flyers on mailboxes, and I had to write on there, not the auntie down the street that cuts hair in the basement. Like I'm on a main floor. I had to know how else to like word it. I was like, because that's what I would be wondering. I was like, is this a dungeon chop shop? So now I got to put it up straight up, blunt about it. So a big fear of mine was that I was going to be undervalued for what I was doing, and that people that I left in the salon were going to talk, and they did, but whatever. They're still there. I'm here.
And how did you handle that? Was that something that you struggled with, like hearing that, or did you like how did you get through that?
I feel like when I did eventually learn that they were gossiping about me, because like first I was shocked, which is so stupid. Like why would I be shocked? They were doing it before. I feel like that anger really fueled my drive to be like, I can't fail. I will not fail for spite. I
Yeah.
feel like I've got to spite for a while, but that eventually turned into no, this is my baby. I'm very proud of what I created. And I'm starting small, I'm starting humble, but I'm starting and I'm doing something.
That's amazing. And I do think oftentimes it is always that resistance that really pushes you. Without that, sometimes you wouldn't go as hard or you wouldn't push as far.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably helped you in a lot of ways. You
100%.
talked about like your family working hard for what they had, and you're talking about just like from immigrants. How did that all like seeing your parents work really hard? Like, how did those things impact you?
How can it not impact you? Like I see my mom still working 2 jobs. I'm like, she was pretty much the only one working. My dad had hurt himself like I think the year I was born, so he was not really able to work. But I saw my mom struggle. I don't know how she fed 4 kids. I'm like, it was nuts, man. You could not pull that shit off these days. But like you see it, you have to be appreciative of it. And I just didn't want to be a burden on her or like a stress on her of okay, I took a risk on my daughter and she failed, and now we have this like debt on our heads because I didn't accomplish what I set out to accomplish. So it was just not, once the failure is not an option, I feel like you have to keep going. And when you keep going, shit just momentum happens and it just happens for you.
That's
There's no
amazing.
stopping.
Yeah. So now you have a house that you built from the ground up and you have your own
Mm-hmm.
space. And
Yep.
so from there, where do you want to go? What are some of the things that you want to do?
I want to buy a house in Mexico and live on the beach, man. I don't want winter anymore. I feel like I'm definitely starting to work my dream schedule, having my dream clientele, and all that came from like my branding, which like I didn't just know it. I obviously learned it from somewhere, which I don't know if you want to get into it now, but basically you can't be like a generalist. You have to be a specialist because this generation, Gen Z that's coming up, us too, like we're so bougie without money, but we all want to see a specialist, right? We don't want to see the person that does everything. So I feel like I'm really applying all the techniques and things I learned in the first shutdown has really built my business to be like I can be so picky and I can say no. I'm like, so now I don't do men's cuts, I don't do kids cuts, I don't do standalone haircuts, I only do colors. And if you want to cut, you gotta book a color. So I see max 3 people a day, and it's great. I get to pee, I get to eat, I get to lay down, and I'm relaxed.
That's amazing. Maybe talk about like the ability to say no, because I know, especially in this industry and in the industry that you're in, it's not always easy to set boundaries.
No,
Maybe talk about some of those things.
saying no is it's so hard because I think when we're kids and we start saying no, we know our boundaries when we're kids, and then it's beat out of us. No, you can't say no. You have to people please. You have to. Oh, this person wants you to do it. Oh, go hug this person. They want a hug. And it's like you as a child know your boundaries and your space, but it's conditioned out of you. So then as an adult, saying no, so much guilt is attached to it, and breaking down and not ignoring, but like just telling yourself, like, I'm saying no. I don't need to feel guilty about this. Other people are responsible for their feelings. I'm not responsible for their feelings. And this was so hard for me in the family I grew up in, because we're so fucking codependent. Like even today, it's unhealthy, but we are aware of it. But at least I know why I feel guilty when I say no to my family, and I can start detaching a little bit. But to clients or people I'm not related to, I'm like, I owe you nothing. You owe me nothing. I can say no to you. And there's so much freedom in saying no, because I went from saying yes all the time. Yes, I do perms. Yes, I do this, that, whatever. Fucking hate perms. And I don't want to do kids cuts ever again. And that was killing my passion. I'm like, this is gonna hurt me. I don't want to do this anymore. But I didn't see a way out, because if I stop one service, it's the fear of what about all that potential income you're gonna lose. And that's in business school, you learn the potential income. And it's like, yeah, but what's gonna happen to your ability to want to provide a service? It's going to be gone too. So fuck the potential income when you're just like, fuck my whole career. I don't want to do any of it. So when you can narrow in and generalize your value, you start charging your worth, and you actually end up making way more than if you were doing all the things.
That's so good. And I think that sometimes we feel like, I think in any business or as you're growing any type of brand or personal brand, is that the more you do, the more successful you're going to be. And the more you accommodate, the better you're going to be and the faster you're going to grow. But I think that to what you're saying, it's almost the opposite, because it's like when you start getting really serious and understanding, who am I? Who do I want to serve? Who are the people I want to help? Then your business explodes because you're intentional about it and you're not doing something that doesn't fit who you are.
Exactly.
Where you want to go.
And you can't talk to everybody. You have to talk to one person. And like, I learned that this past year, like really drilled in my head. Like I'm only talking to my dream client. We all have those dream clients that we see like once every 6 weeks. And you're like, yes, I love the person. So I built my whole future career around those two people that people love, and everything decision I make, I'm like, would these people like that decision? Yes or no? And then it's been usually leading me in a good direction of, okay, I'm attracting more people like that, those two people that I love. And that's all I want. I don't want no more be crusty Wendy's anymore. Nobody wants them anymore. They can fuck off. Go somewhere else. Sick and tired of bending to their will.
But you had to become confident in who you are. I think part of being able to say no and part of being able to attract the right people is also understanding who you are and understanding what your values are and what's important to you. So what are some of the things that you value, and what are some of the things that you want to attract?
I value like integrity, obviously. I'm not a realist. I'm a realist in the sense of like within my hair industry, I'm not going to tell someone they have this crazy wild hair dream and I'm like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. No, bro, if you can't do it, I'm not going to tell you you can and then disappoint you. So I feel like I operate with a lot of integrity too. I'm not going to over promise, under deliver, anything like that. Yeah, I feel it's more, I think it's kind of starting to morph into more of a holistic kind of business. Not like super hippy dippy, but I try to attract people that are very self-aware and they know who they are. And I think that just naturally happens because I'm starting to learn and start to emulate who I am, like truly. Took 35 years, but here we are. So you start to attract people that are very self-aware and they're conscious of the decisions that they're making, the choices they're making. And they're not like frivolous or surface kind of people. And it just naturally just happens. I feel like you just put the intention out there of like, this is how I'm going to operate. This is what the direction I want the business to go in. And you just get those people in your chair.
100%. I think that you do attract the right people when you know that within yourself. I love that. I think like there's so many people probably watching that are like, how do I get there? Like, how do I get to know myself? What are some of the things that you think helped you to really get grounded, and who's 10? And
oh my God, honestly, I can give you a list of podcasts that I listen to that were super beneficial and really, you have to get arrogant a little bit. Like, I've always told I was arrogant. Even my husband told me when he met me, I thought you were arrogant. I'm like, people are, oh, that's such an insult. I was like, no, good. I'm glad I come off as arrogant because I don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I rub people the wrong way all the time. I have no problem with it because I don't want everyone to be my cup of tea either. I like who I like and I don't like who I don't like, or I'm just like indifferent. So you have to have a little bit of arrogance to you. I feel like you have to tap into your inner like boss bitch attitude. Because like it's there for everybody. We don't need to be so humble all the time, especially as women. Like take charge, make a decision, do whatever you want to do. Like even in my marriage, I'm like, listen, I got here on my own. You got this far on your own. We don't really need to joint anything financially because you were responsible for yourself. You're an adult. I'm a And also, I'm never going to ask you permission for anything because I'm going to do whatever I want. If that's a problem, then that's your problem. That's not my problem. Like, you just have to be very firm in who you are as an individual. And that doesn't come easy at everybody. It took me a long time to get there because I was also a bit of a people pleaser, being like one of the middle children. But you have to find the arrogant little bitch inside. let her out, man.
I love how you
wear clothes that say funny shit. My shirt says swag, gangster, money, diamonds, and that's what I am. I want to emulate that. Where are your feelings?
I love it. I think that being you, and you will attract who is attracted to you, instead of like you trying to pretend to be somebody else and attracting people that, like you said, you might not even like. You might not.
And you're going to attract imposters. If you're being an imposter yourself, you're going to attract fake people. And I did that. You're going to learn quickly. You're just like, quickly, you're just hate these people.
And you know what? This is like part of my journey in the last year or so, has just been this idea that everything around you is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. And it's so crazy when you said that, because that's exactly like sums it up. If you're not being authentic, then you're not going to attract authentic things. Like, the reason why the people around you, the things that you don't like or the things that frustrate you, are usually the things in yourself that you need to work on, and you need to, you know, like
100%.
Yeah.
And I found that out, this is like personal story, but like when you meet someone and you're like, oh, I hate that about them. And you're just like, I immediately turn inward. I'm like, okay, I probably do something like that. That's super beep and annoying. And so in my bridal party, the shit went down. Like, oh man, I wish I saw this coming before, but I didn't. It was like too late. Two of my bridesmaids are super toxic people. And I didn't realize till my bridal shower.
And I'm like, why are these stupid pervs? You know?
I'm like, why have these two bitches in my party now? What am I gonna do with this? But then obviously after the wedding and everything, I was like, no, my inner circle is so important to me. The energy that is in there is so important. I cut those two people out. It was like a pretty like day after the wedding. I was like, that's enough of this. Like, you guys were there. You're in all my pictures now. Unfortunately, I tried to crop you out. It didn't work. But here we are. Your energy that you keep around you. And I learned this from Gabby Bernstein. Me and my sister did a 21-day manifesting challenge with her. You're creating all this good energy, right? You're manifesting, you're like meditating, you're doing all this good stuff, and you're putting good energy out there. But you have to be so careful who you share that energy with, because there's energy vampires out there that are going to take it, turn it around, and probably wish ill upon you because they're just like jealous, probably is one of them, or they're intimidated by it because you're doing something different. But you have to be so careful who you share like all that like that good energy with, because there's people out there that don't want the best for you. And unfortunately, sometimes they're your bridesmaids.
It's true. And I think as we grow, like in life, it's okay to let go of relationships that no longer serve you, or that are in, like, you're just in different spaces. I think that's part of growing. If we always stayed the same, then we would never need to change friendships, or I think it's important to be aware of the people you have around you. And if you look at people that generally have the same friends their whole life, they're usually in similar spots.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, 100%. I think that people weave in and out of your life, and you could be really good friends in high school and spend some time apart and then come back together, but you're allowing people to grow and change. And I think that's so important. And like you said, a lot of times when you're frustrated or when you see things in people, it's the stuff that's in you. And sometimes you need to take a step back from that so that you can work on yourself, and 100%. Then come back to those relationships at a different time, for sure.
Yeah. I feel, especially when it was like it was this time last year, January, February, March last year, I was just like in a rut. I almost left the industry completely, and I was like, I hate this. I don't feel passionate. I don't feel inspired. I'm doing crap I don't like. But I remember someone telling me, I can't remember who, they're just like, write a letter to yourself, dated 6 months from the day, and it feels so shitty in the moment. And then you're going to read it 6 months from now, and you'll be like, laugh, one. Because anything I read for myself, I always think it's so hilarious. And it sounds so stupid. But like, how much things change in such a short amount of time. If you're like, I'm surrounded by people with attitudes and belief systems that don't align with my own, you need to pen to paper, write down what your actual belief systems are, who you would like to be. And as cheesy as it sounds, like, it is getting it out to the universe. It is putting some physical energy out there. And at least you can see on the paper what you wrote. Okay, this is a reflection of me. And then you can start changing stuff. But if you're stuck in your head, or just talk about it a lot, if you're stuck in your head in that loop, it's so hard to get out of it.
That's so good. I am 100% all about writing things down. I think it's so powerful.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes in your mind, everything's just like swirling around and there's so much going on that it's all in there, but it's not until you like put it on paper that you can actually like really focus on those things instead of it just being this like swirly mess. So I 100%. And then when you actually focus on it, you do build the house from the ground up. Like you set out, I'm sure, with a goal of I'm going to build my own house. Did you? Is that something
No, it wasn't really going to build my own house. I was just like single ass
beep. I was like,
I need to get the hell out of my mom's house. Like, I need to have somewhere of kin, and I can't do that in my mom's house. It was a very lustful desire. So anyways, went out and I looked at a bunch of houses and I put my offers on houses that were already built, but nothing made sense. All like logistically, like a lot of the houses, my wash sink would be coming out of the island in the middle of the room. I was like, whatever, I'll make it work. I don't care. Get me the hell out of here. And then something or other always fell through. And then the time, and that's why I'm like, timing is so important. Like the house I ended up finding was a show home, which is already sold. And they're like, we have one lot left on this street and we can build that house. And I was like, I want the flip reverse image of it because it was freaking me out that the kitchen was on the left-hand side. And they're like, yeah, sure. So I was like, okay, like what are the chances? Last house, they almost specced out that lot. And like, it was 20,000, 30,000 below buying a house that was already built. Like ridiculous. But like, I think when I was coming from a place initially of desperation, I kept obviously seeing houses that, and then I started changing my mindset even then, which I was not aware I was doing. Was like, okay, if I'm going to be serious about running a business out of this place, the layout has to work. So my intention went from like desperation, I want to party and be an animal, to okay, I'm actually going to also run a business out of this house. So I need to put my intention behind that. But I didn't know I was doing that until like now talking about it and looking back how much the shift of your mindset can change the outcome of what you're going to receive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what would you say, like there's people on here listening that are just like, okay, I know that there's things in me and I want to take those leaps and I want to try something new. What would you say to them are some good ways to start?
I guess it depends on what you want to start doing, but you just have to start. Just take a baby step, because taking 10,000 baby steps is going to be equivalent to taking one giant leap, but you have to take a baby step. And like for me, the baby step was like going from like bank to salon, was doing a Google search. You don't know what you're going to look up or whatever step you're taking is going to actually ignite like some kind of passion in you or a fire in you, or it's going to feel like really like negative. No, I don't want to do that. At least you're getting answers each step of the way. But when you're stuck and you're not taking any steps, you're not getting direction from anything. So you have to at least just start and just know that no one knows what the beep they're doing. I love that saying so much. I'm getting it tattooed because nobody knows what they're doing. We're all just out here doing something, hoping it turns into something. Some people are lucky and it turns into something really quick and something super lucrative. Other people take a little bit more time, but at least you're doing something. But when you're not doing nothing, you're not doing nothing.
So
and you still don't know anything.
Yeah, you're no better off. And you're right. I think that it's this comparison game. We live in a culture where everyone compares themselves to this person and this person. And the way that social media has wired us to look at, even within your industry or within your niche, you're constantly seeing your competition or whatever. But at the end of the day, the people that are thriving are the people that have almost scooped up what they could from what's around and said, I like this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this, but then made it themselves and did their own thing. And I know that's who you are. You have a really authentic way of doing life and doing your business. So what are some of the things that you want people to feel? Like what's the legacy that you want to leave for people?
I want people to feel, well, to go quickly back to your other point of like social media and everything, the biggest tip I received was put blinders on. Whatever industry you want to get into or whatever you want to do, pick one or two people that inspire you. Everyone else, don't look at their shit. Because one, your feed is going to be just flooded with crap like that. And you're going to doubt yourself. You're going to do the comparison game is going to come into play. You just have to put blinders on. Do you, because everyone's just doing them, and just ignore the noise. That's it. Because everyone is living their regular life comparing it to a highlight reel, right? No one's actually living these lives. This is not every day. We're all, having weird digestive problems. We're not sleeping well. We're all cleaning up our own shit, our dog shit, someone's shit. I glamour all the time. So just put your blinders on and keep your head down, man. Just like focus. But the legacy I want to leave, I want people to feel is just inspired to do something. And tell the big corporations, your big salons, the people who like fed you the Kool-Aid with one hand and took money out of your pocket with the other hand, tell them to go beat themselves, because you should be lining your own pockets and not their pockets. In what business model does it make any sense to work your people to the bone while you're raking in 40, 50% profit? Makes no sense. For the business it does, but not for the employee. So the employee that's out there that is just, what am I doing stuck here? You are stuck there. Get there for the boat. Quit. Go do something else. Or do a secret side hustle and make that your main hustle. And then when you're self-sufficient, tell those guys go. It's really gratifying.
So like they should start a side hustle. Start a side hustle. They should
start a side hustle. You can do anything. The world is so small now with the internet, man. You can sell anything. It's awesome. It's super overwhelming, but it's super awesome to be like, you can sell a service. You can sell any kind of product that you're making. You can sell anything. I have a client who makes soap. She makes so much money making soap. I'm like, totally self-sufficient, raised her 2 kids making soap. What a dream, man.
And I think that's just it. When you pinpoint who you are, what makes you unique, what is your brand, who are you from the inside that you want to share out, then you will attract people that want the same things, because there's other people that love your soap or that love your guitar strings or whatever it is that you're passionate about, because we're all so different, but there are people that are interested in the same thing. So it's just about really being consistent, I think, with like who are you?
And it takes so much vulnerability to put out who you are. Like, it's scary. And like vulnerability is always associated with weakness. I'm like Brene Brown's #1 fan. And all her shit is on vulnerability and shame. And I've learned so much from her. But it's true. Anytime I was vulnerable and I didn't know I was being vulnerable, I succeeded. Any leap I took, I flew by the seat of my pants. I had no plan. This whole time I had no plan. I'm not a planner. My older sister is type A. She plans. This is when we're having fun. Plan. No. Chen is like, we're having fun all the time. I'll do a plan when I think about it later. Well, I had no plan, but I was being vulnerable and I took a risk. And that's when the payment comes. That's when your reward comes. But it's so hard. You hear it all the time, right? With no risk, no reward. But you have to be vulnerable and you have to be acting out of place of like servitude and just like you want to do better for, even if it is for yourself, you're serving yourself, your family. Like you got to want better for yourself and put yourself out there and your message out there and just cross your fingers and close your eyes. That's all you got to do. That's what I did last week. I launched my business and I was like,
it's so crazy. Cool that you just did that. So how do you feel? Like, how did it feel?
It's a trip, man. Oh my God. The #1 advice I give to anybody doing anything, one, you're not going to do it on your own. You need a coach. I have so many coaches. I have a coach for behind the chair. I have a mindset coach for my new business. I have a nutrition coach. My husband's my fitness coach. Like, my brain can't handle all the things. So you have to outsource the shit that you don't know. And it was crazy. The second I hit post, I messaged my business coach. I was like, yeah, go look, read it. Does it sound okay? Like, you need the validation too. But that's why you have that person that's in your corner that's cheering you on. Like, it's scary to be on your own. When I went on my own, I guess my mom was kind of my business coach because she taught me, okay, you need to go to the city first, then you got to go to the registry and you got to do permits and all crap nobody wants to do, right? But if I didn't have her, like, I would have been just shooting in the dark, man, and making even more mistakes than I already made. So have a coach. Have lots of coaches.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm like, some days I'm like, you're doing way too many courses and coachings and all these things, but it's so important to recognize that you cannot do everything on your own and that you need help. And that's also that humility and that vulnerability to say, I don't have it all figured out and I need help, and humbling yourself to say, I need help.
Yeah. Or if it's like being humble is too like scary, just be like, you need an entourage. These are your posses, your homies. They're gonna lead you to your success. And I don't know, I feel like having a coach makes me feel a little bit bougie, and then being a coach makes me feel a little bit bougie. At the end of the day, we just all want to be a little bit more bougie than we were yesterday.
I love that. Should be one of your tattoo of that too. Tin, you're so amazing, and I'm so grateful that you were here to share with us. Where can people find you if they want to?
Oh, in the interwebs, I am, social medias are shearrebels.com is our website. You can go to my Instagram via there. Also, Tin YEG is my Instagram for my salon. Also, Tin Salon is the website. And then if you want to follow my dog's adventures, it's Winchester of Walker Lake.
Love it. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.